Hello there, it's Mr. Pino for another episode of the 411 from Highway 441. Losing my voice a little bit. It is Friday at the end of my first week in Banks County. I am loving my new community. I'm very excited to be at my new school. However, I would like everyone to know that these videos are opinionated and oftentimes might be sticky for educators, which is why I am recording them off the campus on Highway 441. And any opinions expressed in these video blogs are entirely the opinion of Mr. Pino and not to be affiliated in any way, shape, or form with the Banks County school systems. So today's thought comes from a situation that arose this morning on Facebook, and today's thought is contraryism. People that just want to take the opposite side to feel as though perhaps they support the underdog, or people that compulsively feel the need to, for one reason or another, just either argue or be contrary to the opinions you try to express. In particular, this one was off social media. So here's story time. On Facebook, I do my best to be as middle ground as possible, and while I try to shy away from any posts which might generate poor feedback from my community, for whatever reason, generally speaking, it's political, because Facebook is for me a log where I keep up with all of my pictures and videos of my baby and my wife and my fun happenings on the weekends. But it's a place where I go to absorb content, and then when I find content that speaks to me directly, I get to repost it. Now, some of the things that I follow on my social media, which I have catered directly to my beliefs, they do have an underlying resonation of political partyship and so on and so forth. But I do everything I can to not take sides, because that's not the point. As an educator, I want to try to keep my students' minds receptive to all sides of any argument. A lot of the things that I repost, I love Trevor Noah. I think he is just the tops. I repost a lot of his stuff, and he is talking about cultural and political elements of our system. The post that I got feedback from, which made me think about contrarianism, is in relation to this. It was a background picture, and there was some text on it, and it said something along the lines of, he traveled 8 miles to kill Hispanics, and the point of it was the recent shooter who went to the border, and his manifesto said, I wanted to kill as many Mexicans as possible. People on the news and people in my community are starting to draw the parallels from video games is really big. Joe Biden is all behind video games on the Democratic side, and a lot of the Republicans are saying similar things. Video games, mental illness is in particular. This post was about how the planning and execution of this gentleman's actions are not to just be written off under the umbrella of, well, mental illness. You can't do anything about it because there are sick people in the world. The first response I got to this posting was from a friend of mine that I had done theater with a long time ago, a man that I respect very much, and he said something along the lines of, I agree. When the police showed up, he took action to preserve his own life and put his weapon down and surrendered himself, and since then has been giving interviews and trying to collaborate with a pre-distributed manifesto in order to get his message out to as many people as possible, which shows that he on many levels is entirely capable, and he was not ignorant to what he was doing. There were choices that this individual made which indicate that he was cognizant of his actions. He was cognizant of the repercussions to his actions, and he made a choice to leverage his own freedom for his platform. On his end, he felt activated by the rhetoric that has been prevalent in our society. Again, middle of the line, not trying to say anybody's right or wrong, but this gentleman's manifesto, I read through it, and it's frightening. He was charged by the energy, the negative energy that is so prevalent in social media and online, and it took somebody that was already evil on some levels and inspired them to take action. So the next response that I got was from a good friend of the family, whom I respect as an individual, but this person and I, we see very differently politically. And the response that I received was supporting the contrary side to this argument, saying that the mental illness is real, essentially, that we need to focus on that and not dismiss that. I really appreciate looking at situations like this from various angles, and I try to model for my students being receptive, playing devil's advocacy, trying to approach these situations from an academic standpoint, look at the claims, counterclaims, any factual refutations. We make connections through rhetoric, the levels of argument, and there is so much pathos in the world of social media. For those of you who need a quick reminder, pathos would be, I always remember it with a little mnemonic device, poor pitiful puppies. It's like Sarah McLachlan, Humane Society videos, in the arms of the angels, and you see the person coming out holding the sad, droopy-eared, sad-eyed puppy, and for only $1 a week you could contribute and save the lives of so many. And that is an appeal directly to emotion. And while that is an appeal, and oftentimes in social media I see more reactionary posting than appeal to call to action posting, when I repost and when I utilize some of the material that I share through my Twitter handle, Mr. Pino's Class, as well as my website, MrPinosClass.com, and as well as Facebook on my personal time, it reflects it tiers of meaning, tiers of value to me. There is the on the surface level, the context provided by whatever's been happening recently in the world. Then there's the subtextual level, knowing that if I reposted it resonated with me. I try not to be preachy and stand up and deliver the Church of Pino, and I try to be honest with my viewers in these videos and focus on framing all of the content with I believe statements in order to allow for individuals to disagree and respect those individuals' right to disagree with my particular opinion on whatever issue I'm discussing. But when it comes down to it, oftentimes it made me think about this, and I don't want to accuse this particular individual of being this way, but the connection I made in my head was, there's a lot of people that you're going to meet that have anger inside and frustration and stress from their lives. Whatever their anxiety is spawned from, whatever their anxiety is triggered by, you have no control over that. Again, I try to talk to being a part of the solution and not part of the problem. And when you find people that seemingly want to argue against any relevant point that you may be trying to make, and you develop a pattern whereby you feel as though your opinions are not being valued, you may be dealing with a contrarian. These individuals will try to argue for, I believe, psychological reasons. They will try to argue to work through their own frustrations and their own beliefs and come to terms with themselves, with the community and others, and with moral and ethic imperatives. So think about that as you move day to day through your lives and interact with various individuals who do not agree with you. Make a mental note when you feel as though you cannot make any progress with individuals like that, and then try to determine and choose the people whom you surround yourself with. Try to choose friends, try to choose a community who are respecting and who can value differences of opinion, and who support you for your opinion and are willing to make concessions to meet you in the middle and share their own beliefs with you while not judging you for your personal set of beliefs. And I am at 12 minutes, so that's my thought on that. I hope everyone has a good one.